Hello, my name is Jason, and I'd like to welcome you back to I Have a Story. Um, Past few weeks, I haven't been able to get out here and make my videos. I've had spring has sprung, so I've had a lot of spring chores to do, and had a lot of medical problems. Um, I can't sit down. I haven't been able to sit down in about a week now. I've been blessed to get equipment to help me do this, and one of which is a stand that I can put my camera on and not have to sit in front of the camera anymore, so I can stand up and make my videos. And part was getting these microphones so you can hear me better, and they weren't just plug and play. I had to learn how to use them, and that stuff takes me some time. Um, a lot of friends. I get to be known for helping out my community and the people around me, and I've been overwhelmed with the elderly neighbors that I have. I love them to death, and I'll do anything for them. But I've been kind of overwhelmed with what they've needed help with lately, and counselors have really been on me. Stop helping people. You need to help yourself. So that's part of what I'm here for. That's part of what this. That's entirely what this channel is all about. Um, so before I get into what I really need to be getting into, um, I've been over the past few weeks trying to learn how to use editing software and equipment and make a quality video and make these what I want them to be. It takes me time, and again, with my medical conditions, part of which is my eyes that I struggle with. I'm going to make a video, if not multiple videos, just on my medical conditions in hopes that you'll get to know me better, but also that maybe there's medical professionals out there in this world that these videos can reach, and hopefully be able to help me, because some of what I suffer from, like the nerve damage that I have, is rare condition, and either I can't find a doctor who has seen it before, or none of them that I found know what to do. I refuse to give up hope, and I'm hoping that there's a doctor out there somewhere that can help me and get me back on my feet again. Um, I want to make this video to one, make a positive video, because this channel is going to be about hard stuff in our lives to talk about and deal with. And I want to start out with a positive video, and gives me a chance to work with some of the editing software and the equipment that I have, to get these stories out to you. So this story is about, will you join me on the ark? Um, I've been a person my whole life that's always wanted to change the world and do good and do better. And as you hear my stories, you will see what I'm talking about. Um, I used to think you had to do big things to change the world, and then the answer came to me in a movie, and it's actually the small things that really matter.
You did good, son. You changed the world.
No, no, I didn't.
Well, let's see. Spending time with your family, making them very happy. Gave that dog a home.
Right, so?
So, how do we change the world?
One act of random kindness at a time.
One act of random kindness.
Wow.
It's time.
Well, I ask in the comments to guess the movie that hopefully I'll be able to edit and put in this video and show you. So I also want to share some of the ways that I've done just that. And it's part of the arc. One act of random kindness. It really goes a long way, and it takes little simple things that you can do. One example, I was walking into a Wendy's one day, and there was an elderly lady. I mean, I'm guessing close to 80-ish. She was walking through the door, and it took her inch by inch, good 30 seconds to get through the doorway, and I held the door for her, and she thanked me, and my response was, anything for a pretty lady. Her eyes went this big, her jaw hit the floor. She looked at me and said, boy, you must be dumb and blind. As she started cracking up laughing, and then gave me a hug. That's all it takes. 30 seconds of your day, just a simple comment to somebody. Not only can it make their day, it can change their life. And it can give people confidence and feel good, and maybe they do things that they wouldn't normally do. Um, Take chances, take risks, go out and attempt something that they wouldn't normally do, because they didn't have the the self-esteem to do it. Other ways that I've done that, and um, I had you go to any of my neighborhoods, and they will tell you I'm the guy that helps anybody. I see somebody who pulls a lawnmower out and it won't start, I go over and help them fix it. My next door neighbor, their air conditioner went out. It was in the 90s. They had a newborn baby and two young children, and it's the same house that if you watch my video about the water quality testing, it's the same one I showed you with the wellhead in the yard. Um, so she's it was our kids played together on a daily basis. We talked and played together on a daily basis. One day she said the air conditioner was out and how hot it was in their house and unbearable, and it was going to be a week before the air conditioner company could come out, and it was going to be $100 service call just to have them show up. I said, I know how to fix that stuff. Let me see what's going on. 9 times out of 10, in my experience of what I've dealt with, is especially with air conditioners and heat and furnaces, is the capacitors go bad. Um, very, very common part, and literally 9 out of 10 times I've had to do repairs. That's what it's been. So I went over and looked at it. She told her to flip the switch on. She flipped the switch on. I heard the surge, said shut it down. Opened it up, pulled out the capacitor, took it up to blue flame. They swapped it out, came back, put it back in. Air conditioner kicked right on. She said, how much do I owe you? I said, $18. That's what it cost. No, they wanted $100 just to come out and look at it. And it wasn't going to, no, 18 bucks. That's all the capacitor cost. You don't make money off of friends and family, and your neighbors are just as important to me as family, because you can always send your family home. You can hang up the telephone. Your neighbor's always going to be right next door. You have to look at them as family too. Um, I do a lot to take care of the people around me. I've always been one to hate asking for help. Part of what's making this so difficult for me is I'm asking for help, and I'm not one to ever do that. But I'm in desperate need, and I need it. Um, Other ways that I've done that, I had two guys that lived next door to me at one house. Their lawnmower stopped working, obviously. I saw their grass growing up, and at the time I had an employee working with me, and I had landscape equipment. It was part of my business. Repossessing houses was doing landscaping work. I didn't go knock on their door. I didn't ask them what was wrong. So Mike, grab the weed whip. I jumped on the mower, mow their yard with mine. We lived in a little shoebox neighborhood. It took all of about 2 minutes. Um, they thanked me for it and saw what I was doing and invited me over to their parties, but there were two gay guys, and they had gay parties, and I'm not gay, and it just didn't work for me. And I've had a lot of problems in the past with people who are and won't. I seem to have a attractant to the gay guys and little girls that get crushes on me, and I've had some problems in the past with it before because they don't take no for no. Several people haven't, and it's been very tough. You're being stalked by gay guys. What do you do? I have no problem with them being gay. Obviously, I mowed my neighbor's yard just out of kindness in my heart. But it's not my lifestyle, and I'm not going to be a part of it. And I've had too many people who refuse to accept that for some reason. Um, I'll tell more about that later in my stories. I had two lesbian ladies. They were a couple, lived across the street from me. And one day I saw them carrying in a dresser into their house, and they were struggling. And I went over and offered to help them. And we ended up making very great relationship. Um, I have no family, and I had nowhere to go on holidays, and I spent many years with them, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and things like that at their house, and having dinner with them and taking care of their kids, and they're wonderful people. Again, I have no problem with being gay. I'm not, and I don't want it pushed on me. Uh, the woman actually ended up, she was a sheriff for the sheriff's department, and they were sweet, very nice, very kind people, and did quite a bit for each other. The next house I lived in, which was the last one that I lived in, there was an elderly couple that lived across the street from our house. They were in an accident. The husband's hip was damaged. He was in a walker and in a wheelchair and having problems. The first snowfall I saw, I told the kids, grab a shovel. What do you mean grab a shovel? We're going to go shovel their driveway and their walkway for them. Well, why are we going to do that, Dad? Because that's what you do for people. You see an elderly couple in need. The woman is taking care of everything on her own now. I had the kids and myself over there helping her carrying groceries and things when she would come home. Um, and even my son at 2 years old was out there with the shovel, and yeah, it was more work having him there than, but that wasn't the point. He's shoveling snow out of the grass back onto the sidewalk. But that's children. That wasn't the point. He was still at 2 years old learning that we do for others. Um, and it teaches my kids to do the same, have that same heart, the same careness, the same kindness, not selfishness. Um, when I moved, she came over and hugged me and said I was the best neighbor she ever had. Nobody's ever done that for her before and just offered to help. And when she didn't catch us shoveling her snow at first. She'd come out and just see that it was done and not knowing who did it. I did that on purpose too. um, she came over and said thank you. She said, I was going to have my kids come over and do it. And I said, they live a ways away. I'm right across the street. It's nothing to. We didn't have a lot to shovel. We didn't even have sidewalks in our neighborhood. Just the walkway to the house and the driveway. She said she couldn't afford to pay me, and I said, you don't have to. Just the smile on your face is all I need. She went inside the house and baked us cookies and brownies and brought this great big tray of baked goods of all sorts of stuff. And um, when I moved out, she hugged me and thanked me and said she's never had a neighbor like that before. And that doesn't exist where I came from and where I grew up in. Part of the problem I had with living there. But I also realized I've done a lot of big things too, and I'm going to be sharing those stories over time. There was a day I was driving down the road. I was a pizza driver at the time, had the pizza sign lit up on my top of my car and was in uniform. I was driving down Berdan and saw a guy holding a woman from the hood of her coat, and she's trying to get away. And he's punching her in the kidneys, giving her kidney punches, and she's trying to get away. This was right in the front yard. Every other car just drove by. There's no time to think. There's no time to, all you have is action and reaction. What do you do? Well, I know if I drove by and found that woman dead on the news that night, I'd feel terrible knowing that I could have done something about it and didn't. I've done these things many times in my life. I jumped the curb in my car and I hit him. Took him right out from behind her. Didn't run him over. I hit the brakes and bumped him, basically. He hit the ground, got up limping, going back to the house. I'm going to get my gun. I'm going to shoot you. I backed up, pulled over to the passenger door to her, opened the door and told her to get in. I took her up to 7-Eleven up at the corner, said, you call a family relative, you call a friend, whoever you got, you go back to that, and that's on you. Oh, I want you. I'm going home with you to no, 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 no. You're not even going to know my name. It's one of my big rules, number one rule in all of this. Never get involved. I dropped her off, and whatever happened from there, I don't know. But I know she didn't die that night. Or maybe she did. I don't know. I know the feeling of going back to it. I've done it myself. Part of my story here. So, there's a lot of things we can do to help people. I live in a small community, and when COVID hit our town, I went to the owner, Heidi, or it's the owner's daughter. She's the one who runs this grocery store. Her name's Heidi. I said, Heidi, small town grocery store, we don't have curbside pickup and things like that like you do in the cities and bigger grocery stores. I said, Heidi, we have a lot of elderly in our community, and a lot of them don't have anybody. So if you can get the word out, um, anybody who can't make it to the grocery store and needs foods, needs at least the staple supplies, are you willing to let them call in? You put the order together and let them pay over the phone with a card. I will, free of charge, come into the store, pick up their groceries, and set them on their porch and deliver them for them. Something very simple and small. I mean, we don't have 100,000 people here. It wasn't going to turn into a full-time job. And this is a good community, and I wasn't expecting people to take advantage of that. And they didn't. I've really, really tried to do good in my life throughout my entire life, and I've been put down so hard, and I'm being put down so hard right now. I'm here to stop it. I didn't 2 years ago go to the grocery store and do that for COVID and do that just to be here today. It's who I am. Last summer, I take care of one of my elderly neighbors, and she has cancer, and she's last time I took her to the doctor, she weighed in at 65 pounds, and she's wearing down to nothing. She has bone cancer and brain cancer and cancer throughout her entire body. So I took her to one of her doctor's appointments, and I had to sit in the waiting room. They told me, you're gonna have to sit out there for about 45 minutes while we do blood work and we do what we have to do with her, and then you can come back. So while I'm sitting in the waiting room, the doctor walks out with the patient, and the patient's crying, and the doctor's trying to calm her down. And I watched it, I don't know, 30 seconds a minute. Again, you don't pay attention to the clock in these situations. I walked over and said, "Ma'am, can I talk to you?" And that was all it took for her to stop and have that deer in the headlights reaction. She stepped back and, "Why is this guy coming up wanting to talk to me?" Even the doctor looked kind of shocked. I started talking to her. I started calming her down. It only took a minute. And I told the doctor, it's okay. I got this. You can go ahead and go back to work, go back to your office or whatever. I ended up walking the lady out to her car. Got the story that she was born and raised here, and she moved to Alaska. She was here for testing for multiple sclerosis, and she was having problems, and things were progressing, and she came here for testing, wanting to be around her family while she got the testing done. And I listened to her story, and then I started telling her mine. By the time our conversation was over, she was smiling, she was hugging me, she was thanking me. She told me while she was in town that very day, she was supposed to take her niece and her nephew to the beach and take them swimming. And she said, before talking to me, she wasn't going to be able to do that. She was struggling. And she said, thank you, that now she could go and spend time with her niece and nephew off of her shoulders. Okay, well, I was just getting to the end of my video there, and camera that I'm using, the phone that I'm using, started flashing at me that I was out of storage. So hopefully it got at least what I finished saying in that first segment. It's time to wrap up this video anyway. So I'm asking you to join me on the ark. It's very simple. Just when you're out, try to just make somebody's day. Just say something simple, comment to make somebody feel good. It can really make a difference and change the world. While I was explaining this to my advocate, she told me about another movie to watch. It's called Pay It Forward, and I'll tell you what, that's a very, very good movie. And I don't know how I'd never heard of it before, so I'm passing it on to you. Maybe you've never heard of it before, but I'll tell you what, at the end of that movie, my eyes were watering. um, it's a very touching movie and a very good one. So it's one that I recommend to you. Pay it forward. And that's how everybody should be living life. Somebody does something good for you, do something good for somebody else. And not even necessarily somebody has to do something good for you to do something good for somebody else. You just do it. The world seems to become very selfish, and people are scared, and I understand why. You let the fear take you over, or you battle the fear with good. Um, I refuse to let it take me over, and as you hear my story, you'll understand a lot more about me. Um, I'm really hoping that I can touch some people and make a difference in their lives with my stories and uh, with what I have to say. That's what this channel is all about. So I please ask you to stay with me. Riding the ark, sometimes the waters are rough.
I command thee! Hold! Stop! Whoa! It's not working! How about a little help here?
But together we can sail through it. So I'm asking you to join me on the ark and let's start sailing. Have a good day.